Hello, this is a lesson for the English Buddhist terminology, and today let us look at the term emptiness, or known in Sanskrit as shunyata. In this world, in order for us to achieve something or for our wishes to be fulfilled, we would usually say that we need our chances. In a lot of cases, chances actually come from causes and conditions. Therefore, where do causes and conditions come from? Or what is cause and condition? When the Buddha attained enlightenment beneath the Bodhi tree, he saw that dependent origination underlies the operation of the entire phenomenal universe. Dependent origination means that everything is produced from conditions and that nothing has an independent existence of its own. In other words, everything is connected to everything else, and everything is conditioned by everything else. Therefore, for a condition to arise, there has to be a right cause. So a right cause gives rise to the right condition. And this condition may become the cause of another condition, and so on. Therefore, we will understand that causes and conditions means that everything arises because of the presence of causes and conditions. Therefore, different sets of causes and conditions will give rise to different sets of phenomena or things. And because of these differences, there is endless possibilities for different kinds of things to arise. Therefore, we could be subject to different kinds of chances to achieve different things under different conditions or circumstances. And this non-substantiality feature of all phenomena, as described by Buddhism, can also be known as emptiness, which is a key concept in Buddhist philosophy, or more precisely, in the ontology of Mahayana Buddhism. When we talk about emptiness, we may realize that emptiness is the word used to describe the fact that nothing has an independent nature of its own. In other words, emptiness means that everything in this universe is empty of an absolute identity, permanence, or self. The English word emptiness in Sanskrit becomes shunyata, or in Chinese it is known as kong. Since the connotation of emptiness, especially in the English language, suggests the absence of spiritual meaning or a personal feeling of alienation, some people tend to use openness or transparency to prevent misunderstanding, especially in the fact that emptiness in Buddhism is an equivalent to the concept of nihilism. Okay, let's go back to ways to understand emptiness. If there's no emptiness, then nothing will exist. Let's take a piece of cloth as an example. Where does this piece of cloth come from? It is made of yarn. Okay, now where does yarn come from? What is yarn made of? Yarn could be made of cotton fiber. Okay, let's now keep tracing down the track. In that case, where would cotton fiber come from? What would cotton fiber be made of? Then you would say cotton seeds. You have to plant cotton seeds to grow cotton fiber or to grow cottons. Okay, we've now gone all the way back to cotton seeds, but we can still keep going. Where do cotton seeds come from? Or what do we need to do in order to make this seed grow into cotton? We'll need to give it plenty of earth, air, sunlight, and water in order for it to grow. Otherwise, if we just put the seed in a box, it may never grow. Therefore, the cloth is related to the whole universe. And without the universe, there will be no cloth. In this case, we can say emptiness gives birth to all things. Emptiness tells us that this world is like a dream. In other words, emptiness tells us that nothing in this world can exist forever. The Buddha taught that the fundamental cure for all greed, anger, and ignorance is to understand that these mental states are fundamentally empty, that they do not have a substantial nature of their own. He said that to cure ourselves of our delusions, we must realize that all you grasp at is empty. In emptiness, there is nothing to be grasped. It is the nature of emptiness that there is nothing whatsoever within it that can be grasped. And Buddhism uses the phrase emptiness of the four elements, which is 四大皆空, quite often. The Buddha became enlightened and realized that everything in this world is made up of the four elements, which are earth, water, fire, and wind. The earth is the solid part of the whole existence of it, while water is the moisture or the water which we encounter on the earth, while fire is represented by warmth on the earth or temperature, and wind can be represented by the flowing of air within the earth. From this we can see that the earth is then made up of the four elements too. Okay, now you may wonder why we actually call these the four elements. Because once again, everything is made up of them. Therefore, they make up the elements of all things in this world. This can be demonstrated with the example of a cup. A cup is made of clay, and clay comes from the earth. When we mix earth with water, we come up with clay. And if we put clay in the furnace and allow it to go through fire, and then after that, take it out of the furnace and then allow it to dry in the wind, after it dries, it becomes a cup. So from this you can see that in order for a cup to be existent, it has to have, or it has to include all of the four elements: earth, water, wind, and fire. The same goes to our body. Our body is made up of bones, sinew, skin, and flesh. These comprise the element of earth. And then within our body there are also liquids such as blood or our saliva, and these will comprise the element of water. And then we have our body temperature. When we touch our body, we will feel warmth, and this is the fire element. Last but not least, we breathe, and our breaths comprise the element of wind. And if any of these four elements fall out of balance, then it will cause discomfort in the body. In other words, when these four elements fall apart, our physical body will die. Therefore, this body is a combination of four elements. Therefore, the body cannot be said to be real. Once in a village, there was a very devoted Buddhist, an old woman. She had heard that by chanting the Buddhist sutras, it will give her a lot of merits. Therefore, he found a teacher to teach her how to read the Heart Sutra. And not only did this teacher teach her how to read the Heart Sutra, he even described and explained each word within the sutra. Therefore, after learning how to chant it, this old woman chanted in front of the Buddha every day very devoted and piously. And one day when she came to the sentence, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, and no body, she started to wonder. And then she touched her own eyes and pulled her own ears and then pointed at her own nose. And then she got even more confused. Aren't my eye, ear, nose are all there? So why is the Heart Sutra telling me that there's no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, and mind? She quickly went to her teacher and then pointed at her own eyes and asked him, "What are these?" The teacher answered, "They are your eyes." And then she pulled at her ears. "What are these then?" The teacher answered, "Those are your ears." And then she pointed at her nose and she asked him, "What about this? What's this?" The teacher said, "It's your nose." And she started to get impatient. He said to her, "Didn't I teach all of you this when I taught you how to read the Heart Sutra last time?" The old woman answered, "Yes, you did. That's exactly why I'm here. The Heart Sutra tells us that there's no eye, no nose, no ear, no tongue, no body, and no mind. But my eyes, ears, and nose are in fact here. So what does this all mean?" And this question caught the teacher, and the teacher could not answer. He was left in awe, not knowing what to say. And what this instant is trying to tell us is that normally we would think that our eyes, our ears, and our nose are real things, that they exist and that they're there. Yet, most of us have failed to realize that they are simply a combination of causes and conditions. It's a momentary existence. It's a false image of the fact that these things are in fact real in essence. The truth is that all these phenomena that we see, be it our body or the physical environment that we encounter, are the same. They are temporarily existent because of the causes and conditions. Once these causes and conditions fall apart, then the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind will no longer exist. In other words, when the right conditions are present, things will arise or exist or come to be. But once these conditions disintegrate, then existence will no longer be possible. So we can only say that our eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body and mind are temporarily existent. So that's why we say that the four elements are empty and that the five skandhas do not really exist. And when we speak of emptiness, those who have some degree of understanding in Buddhism would most probably be reminded of the Prajna Paramita Hridaya Sutra, or commonly known as the Heart Sutra. It contains the philosophical essence, about 600 scrolls making up the Mahaprajna Paramita. And the Heart Sutra is the shortest text in this collection. It belongs to the oldest Mahayana text and presumably originated in India around the time of Jesus Christ. And within the Heart Sutra, the phrase "form is emptiness and emptiness is form" has been mentioned. And this sentence presents a key concept in the Buddhist philosophy, or more precisely in the ontology of Mahayana Buddhism. In other words, emptiness can be regarded as the real essence of this world, while form becomes the phenomena of this world. The relationship between form and emptiness will be explained at a later stage of this lesson.